Thanks again to John and all of our panelists. Without missing a beat, we're going to go ahead and do our first candidate video, so I ask you to give your attention to one of our presenters.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John Ellum from Parkersburg, West Virginia. It's my privilege to introduce our first presidential candidate for this evening. He hails from South Carolina. It's Senator Lindsey Graham, who has served in the Senate for the last 13 years, since 2003. Prior to that, Senator Graham served in the House of Representatives. He is an Air Force veteran and is a lawyer by trade. Senator Graham, much to my satisfaction, is known as being a bipartisan worker in the Senate, reaching across the aisle. He's also known for his pragmatism.
Thanks, everybody.
And for his decisiveness. For instance, he's also known for not backing down in the face of some pretty nasty threats. At a recent campaign event in Iowa, a potential voter confronted him with whether he would outlaw Islam if he were to be elected president, to which the senator responded, "Don't vote for me, I'm not your candidate." Senator Graham has also been outspoken on the Syrian refugee crisis, urging increased humanitarian aid and accepting more refugees. So please join me in directing your attention to the screen for a video message from Senator Lindsey Graham.
Hello, I'm Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, as you can probably tell by my accent. I really regret I can't be with you in person, but I wholeheartedly endorse the spirit, the concept, and the practicality of the Arab American Institute, formed in 1985 to make sure that Arab Americans have a voice. Every voice matters. Every vote counts. So I'll look forward to meeting with you in person one of these days, but we live in very difficult times, and I want you to understand where I'm coming from. To me, America is an idea, not owned by any ethnic group, any religion, or any race. It's an idea that brings people from all corners of the globe together. Out of many, we've become one. Religious diversity, religious freedom is a hallmark of the American experience. I cherish every group in America who wants to make a positive difference. The Arab American Institute is trying to make a positive difference in creating a dialogue that we so desperately need. To the 3,500 American Muslims who serve in the United States military, God bless you. You're fighting for our nation and for the concepts that we all cherish and are willing to die for. Freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, the right to pick your leaders. This world is a very dangerous place, and we need your voice now more than ever. As the fight against ISIL continues, the way ahead is tough, but we will get there. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan and the region over 35 times. I've come to learn one thing, that most people in the faith reject radical Islam, and that very few fathers and mothers want to turn their daughters over to ISIL or their sons. From an American point of view, it is in our interest to partner with people throughout the region to destroy radical Islam at its roots. The military component is a real part of the solution, but in many ways the smallest part. As we try to destroy ISIL, the goal is to hold and build after they're militarily degraded. That means that our country, with all of our resources and all of our talents and all of our voices, will have to give aid and comfort to people in the region who are trying to build a better life. The one thing I know without any doubt, that the future of the Mideast can only occur in a positive fashion with American involvement. Educating a poor young girl in a remote region of the Mideast will do more damage to the Taliban or radical Islam than any bomb we could drop. I have been around young people for many years now in the Mideast. They're asking for social justice and their right to do so. There's a fight within the faith for the heart and soul of Islam. I will side with the overwhelming majority of people within the faith who want to worship God in a fashion that's not threatening to anyone else, and to create a world where we all can live in peace and practice our faith as we choose. At the end of the day, the struggle against radical Islam is a struggle between radical Islam and mankind. ISIL represents the worst of mankind. We've seen this in other religions. We've seen this throughout history. And the way this movie always ends is when good people of different faiths, commonality of interest, rise up and say no to this radical ideology, as we did with the Nazis. And that is our challenge. I am confident we will get there. It's going to take commitment on the part of the United States for a very long time, a generational struggle. But the outcome does matter to us. To those of you who are trying to create a dialogue in the Arab American community to affect the political process, your timing is perfect. We need more involvement, not less. Make sure your voice is heard. America, again, is an idea cherished and enjoyed by so many different groups, so many different faiths, so many different backgrounds. As long as I'm in the Senate, as long as I'm in public office, I'm going to embrace that our diversity is our strength, that your right to worship and my right to worship has to equally coexist. And to you and all those who believe in this idea called America, don't get disheartened. I know times are tough and some things are being said that are not within the spirit of who we are. These times will pass. And our goal is to make sure that we'll replace the dialogue of today with something more productive. Your voice is needed now more than ever. Thank you so much for allowing me to address you. And one day soon, I hope to get to meet this group in person. Please come by my office in Washington. I look forward to understanding more about your organization. And to the young lady who invited me to do this, go Lions. Thanks so much.
Hi, my name is Karen Gerges, and I am an intern at AAI, and I have the opportunity to present our next video message. Senator Bernie Sanders is an independent senator from Vermont. Having spent over 20 years in public service, he has been a voice for middle-class families his entire career. Since entering the Democratic primary, Senator Sanders has focused on challenging the top 1% and has shaken the hold of billionaire-funded presidential campaigns. He has brought education and campaign finance reform to the forefront of public dialogue and has elevated the conversation on economic justice. His message has resonated with millennials and the middle class alike, drawing record-breaking crowds. Please join me in turning our attention to a video message from Senator Sanders.
Let me begin by thanking Jim Zogby and the Arab American Institute for everything that you do each and every day to educate and enlighten the American people. I am sorry that I cannot be with you today, but I am thankful for the opportunity to share with you my message and goals for the future. In America today, we have a system that works really well for a select few, but not for the vast majority of our people. This inequality goes beyond our economy. It is reflected in our flawed criminal justice system, our broken campaign finance laws, and in the barriers to our voting booths. Transcending these inequalities and changing the system requires people like those of you here today to spread your message of civic engagement. If we want to end institutional racism in this country and close the loopholes on racial profiling by law enforcement, we must join together to demand change. At a time when the Arab American community is being profiled by law enforcement and targeted by right-wing extremists, AAI's mission of fostering civic engagement is exactly what we need. The brutal murders in Chapel Hill last February, the New York Police Department's unconstitutional surveillance program, and a young boy's treatment for bringing a homemade clock to school is forcing America to confront a truth minority communities face every day. We strive for a system of justice for all, but we often fall short. Shared prosperity and a system that works for everyone requires a revolution of democratic participation that begins with you, with me and with all Americans. If we want an economy that works for everyone, we must engage. If we want to make college education affordable for everyone, we must engage. If we want a livable wage and paid sick leave, we must engage. If we want to end the hatred and the perpetual warfare in the Middle East, we must engage. Your mission of civic engagement, organizing and recruiting leaders who will speak truth to power, is enormously important. I am glad to be in this fight with you, and I am inspired by your courage. I hope you have a wonderful conference, and I am there with you in spirit. Thank you very much for what you do.
I'm pleased to present a brief video message from Ohio Governor Presidential Candidate John Kasich. In a crowded GOP field, Kasich has been called the elder statesman in the room, and he's not afraid of having government experience. 9 terms in Congress, 18 years on the Armed Services Committee, chief architect of the last balanced budget we've seen. He's currently serving his 2nd term as Ohio's governor. So while many in the GOP are touting their outsider experience, Kasich is able to run on a real record of governance, both in DC and in his home state. Since entering the race, Kasich has called for a return to a balanced budget, accountability on government spending, inclusive economic growth. In the Middle East, he supports an active U.S. role against ISIS and further engagement in humanitarian efforts for the Syrian people and refugees. His message is resonating with members of the Arab American community. One of our own, Senator John Sununu, has been Kasich's right-hand man, especially as he campaigns in New Hampshire. So I encourage you all from both parties, or no party, to take a good look at and learn more about Governor Kasich's platform and record. Please join me in turning our attention to a brief video message from the Governor.
Hey, I just wanted to take a moment here and to really encourage you and congratulate you on the fact that you are engaging in public opinion and public policy here in America. You know, I think everybody needs to take a moment and try to understand one another. That's the way that I run the state of Ohio, make sure that all voices are heard. So I really appreciate your constructive engagement. You're part of our American community, and I'm very excited to congratulate you and thank you for the fact that you're gathering together, trying to figure out how all of us together can make a better and stronger America. God bless.